Story 1. I am upset that a child in Texas died from measles because her parents did not get her vaccinated. Incidents like this are particularly painful for those of us who are unable to have children. I believe the parents should be held accountable for her death. Story 2. Doing anything with my hands that requires finesse is challenging. My hands are too big, and after a few attempts, I genuinely start to shake with anger and pent-up energy from making only the tiniest movements. I almost cried trying to thread a needle once. Story 3. Getting cut off in casual conversation more than twice eventually sours my mood, and I become disinterested in the conversation due to the principle of it. Story 4. When I log into a website and then click to another part of the website, it makes me log in again. Story 5. People blocking a path or walking very slowly are completely oblivious to me trying to get past. Please move out of the way. Story 6. Wind chimes. The neighbors in my old house had one, and I almost hopped the fence to break it multiple times. Story 7. I assume we mean small things. Close talkers. I have a personal space boundary, and I will dislike you until the day I die if you invade it despite me setting the limit. Story 8. People who change lanes in the middle of an intersection pose a serious danger to other drivers. Story 9. I was working security at a retail store in asset protection when I stopped a gentleman for shoplifting. It wasn't enough to get him sent to jail, just a fine. The police arrived, obtained the shoplifter's information, and discovered he had active arrest warrants. The shoplifter began cursing at the security personnel for his arrest. I didn't say anything, but it irritated me that he was blaming someone else for his own behavior. He took no responsibility for his actions. Story 10. How absolutely foolish people are. It is not about any one person, organization, or anything in particular, but we are in a timeline where we might go extinct for the most senseless reasons. Story 11. Almost every experience at grocery stores can be frustrating. There are people who walk aimlessly, those who park their carts in the middle of the aisle, and individuals who get into their cars at busy times, turn on the engine, and sit there for minutes with their brake lights on. Some people even leave their carts scattered instead of returning them. While it may seem trivial, it annoys me that people act as if they are alone in public spaces. Story 12. Camping in the passing lane. Keep right except to pass. It is not the fast lane. It is the passing lane. If you are not 1. About to pass. 2. Passing. 3. Waiting for a safe distance to move over after passing. Get out of the passing lane. But they're speeding. If you want to enforce the speed limit, go become a police officer. You are also breaking the law by impeding the flow of traffic and failing to obey a traffic control device. By creating a massive traffic jam, you are creating a more dangerous situation than those speeding past you. Keep right except to pass is not a suggestion. It is a traffic control sign and the law. Would you prefer an aggressive, dangerous driver behind you, or 2 miles in front of you where you can safely avoid them if they crash or watch them being pulled over? If you're not passing, move over. Story 13. People who behave atrociously towards others, thinking it is perfectly acceptable to be condescending, rude, judgmental, and openly critical of everyone around them often do so because their peers and family are too cowardly to call them out. I dislike rude individuals and feel forever enraged with those who enable such behavior. Story 14. My uncle is my father's twin and has struggled with substance abuse. After my father's passing, he found a way to take everything and vanish. I hope he seeks help. Story 15. When you are on a narrow path and there are 2 or more people taking up the entire path, walking very slowly and talking without a care in the world. Story 16. Abuse. I am certain I would lose my mind if I saw a child or a woman being abused, especially my own. I worry that if someone harmed my daughter, I would not be able to control my overwhelming rage. Story 17. Do not tell me to come to where you are because you want to share something. If you want to share something with me, get up and walk over to me and speak. Story 18. Red lights occur when I am the only car at the intersection. The traffic signal goes through the entire cycle of allowing all the other unseen cars to go first. Story 19. Injustice and cruelty deeply affect me. It is frustrating to witness the harm that people can inflict on one another. Story 20. People who aren't situationally aware. Blocking aisles in the grocery store. Stopping in a doorway. Using a speakerphone in public. Story 21. Litter, illegal dumping, and vandalism of infrastructure are significant issues. Littering is frustrating. While some debris is carried by the wind and may not be anyone's fault, it is irritating to see people throw empty fast food bags out their windows or leave trash on the ground. Nearly every establishment has a garbage can, often placed on the street. It is not difficult to do your part. Illegal dumping is even more upsetting. In this country, we have numerous options for disposing of unwanted items. In my county, the Waste Management Service will even come to your home to pick up old furniture for free. You just have to schedule it. There is also a mobile app available for this service. It actually requires more effort to load items into a truck and dump them on a public street at night. I am infuriated by this thoughtless behavior. I appreciate art, but messy initials are not pleasant to see. Graffiti used to involve effort, with people creating intricate bubble lettering and stunning murals filled with details. Now we have individuals obstructing freeway signs with nonsensical scribbles. Newcomers to the area depend on those signs for navigation, and it frustrates me every time I drive beneath one. Story 22. Hypocritical Christians. I am a Christian myself, but I cringe every time another Christian judges others and places themselves on a pedestal. It goes against everything that Christianity should represent. Story 23. That millions of individuals voted that person back into the White House. May they all get exactly what they deserve. Story 24. Far-right ideology. I honestly don't know why, but I just can't stand the far right. The odd thing is that, on paper, I would normally fit the profile: white, out of shape, middle-aged, were veteran, bad haircut, facial hair, former law enforcement, suburban homeowner, married with teenage kids, and I enjoy outdoor activities like hiking, camping, and fishing. I like sports and prefer beer to any other alcoholic beverage. But yes, I hate right-wingers. Initially, I mentioned the far right, but honestly, I believe they all have problems. If you asked me where my deep-seated hatred originates, I couldn't provide an answer. Who knows, maybe punk music in the 1980s really did affect my perspective. Story 25. Wind chimes. I dislike them. I find the metallic clanging bothersome and the randomness combined with the unnatural sound frustrating. My dislike increases with the pitch of the chimes. I would remove them from existence if I could. Story 26. Online trolling, drama, and obnoxiousness are pointless. What's almost as bad is when you're in virtual reality and someone in the room is acting out, shouting over the film or performing inappropriate gestures in another user's face. When I bring it up, I'm told to just block them. But then they never learn that their conduct is unacceptable, and they occupy a space in the room that could be used by someone who actually wants to watch the movie, enjoy the sport, or participate in the discussion, rather than engaging in disruptive behavior or screaming inappropriate phrases. Story 27. As a blind person, eating with a fork and knife can be challenging. If I could see color, I am sure I would notice some red after accidentally pushing food off my plate for the 1,000th time. Story 28. Slow walkers. I understand that you're enjoying your stroll, but some of us are trying to get somewhere, not participate in a human traffic jam. Story 29. When you're annoyed or angry and someone thinks telling you to relax or chill will make you do that. Also, gravity. I set something down, walk away, and then that object knocks down for other items. Story 30. When someone sits behind me on the train and starts hitting the seat with their knees or pulling the seat back, it's frustrating. They don't seem to realize that someone is right in front of them. I can't stand it, so I always end up switching seats. Story 31. Probably less rage-inducing than other comments, but could have, should have, etc. frustrates me beyond reason. Story 32. While driving, I get annoyed when people come to a complete stop to turn right, forcing everyone behind them to stop as well. I also find it frustrating when people use the bike lane as a turn lane to avoid this, so I guess I'm just never happy. Story 33. The depths of my anger for what my country has become are unfathomable. It is not just the current administration. People put that administration in place and are supporting it. The lack of empathy and compassion for others is infuriating. Story 34. When people make a post on Reddit to ask for specific answers that can be found quickly by using a search engine, it takes significantly more effort to create the post than it would to conduct a search, and you still have to wait for someone to respond. Story 35. People who talk on speakerphone in public, those who interrupt or chew too loudly, and individuals who bathe in cologne or perfume are all bothersome. People who excessively use the word like also annoy me. Additionally, those who abuse others, whether people or animals, and those who say you should are frustrating. I could go on. And yes, I am often in a crabby mood. Story 36. We are at AT intersection. I need to turn left and you have the right of way. My turn signal is on, you have the right of way, so please go. Do not stop and try to wave me on. It is not safer. You are just trying to be nice. However, being safe and predictable is the best thing you can do while driving. Story 37. Treating all opinions as equally valid is not accurate. Your opinion that vaccines cause autism is not valid. Your opinion that white people are being replaced as part of a conspiracy is not valid. Your opinion that women should be subservient to men is not valid. Your opinion that religious instruction belongs in American public schools is not valid. Your opinion that you should tell others how to live, love, or worship when it does not impact you or your family in any way is not valid. In face-to-face interactions outside of the internet, we have become tolerant and open to the point of losing our critical thinking. Story 38. A couple of things. People who chew with their mouths open. One from the workplace. Right before you head on vacation, you take the time to create folders containing all the necessary information to complete a job. You inform people who to contact while copying those contacts during your absence, and let those contacts know what emails to expect and which projects are on a tighter schedule. Only to return and find that they answered none of the emails from the clients that they received and didn't attend to any tasks that were due. What makes matters worse is that the person I'm supposed to delegate those tasks to is my boss. Story 39. Mouth noises and anything even remotely related to ASMR can be distressing for me. I have misophonia, and hearing ASMR or mouth noises causes me actual physical pain. It is extremely hard to describe to people, but the best way I can explain it is that it feels like thousands of burning needles being stabbed into me from the inside and out. I have had to cut ties with friends before because they cannot respect my simple request to keep their mouths closed and avoid causing me extreme discomfort and pain. I had one friend who would intentionally chew louder and louder in front of me. Eventually, I snapped and punched him. Was it right to punch him? Honestly, I believe it was, as he was causing me pain, so I consider it self-defense. People, please just close your mouths while chewing. It's unpleasant to have them open, and it could be harming someone. Story 40. Oh, you just want one thing? Fine. Raisins in cookies. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking about everything either. Story 41. When people say, "My name is Dr. Smith," it's not entirely accurate. Your name is your name, and doctor is just a title. You could say, "I am Dr. Smith," or "I'm called Dr. Smith," but Dr. Smith does not represent your full name. Story 42. People do not understand that I am phrasing orders as polite questions to be kind. Then my eyes turn black like a shark's, and everyone runs. They usually only need to see my shark eyes once. Story 43. Acceptance and agreement. It does not affect you to accept that people are different. Mind your own business and move on. Even if you do not agree with it, simply accept it. This approach could solve many problems. Story 44. People touching me unprompted without any consent bothers me. I don't care if it's just my shoulders. I dislike being touched. Story 45. Either you're just making excuses or having to listen to someone yell at me without having any say in the matter. Story 46. When people know they messed up and deny it to the bitter end, even when faced with mountains of proof. No, no, no. You. Story 47. Reading online articles with ads embedded every few inches makes it hard to concentrate on the written words. Story 48. When people don't listen to instructions from their bosses or teachers and then ask you to explain. I had to hear the same thing, and now I have to tell you? Story 49. When people litter or show blatant disregard for the environment, it is infuriating to see beautiful places ruined by thoughtless actions. It feels like such a basic level of respect for the planet is being ignored. It is not just about aesthetics. It is about the long-term damage caused to ecosystems and wildlife. This issue bothers me more than most people might realize and serves as a constant source of frustration. Story 50. When people go out of their way to annoy me, it's never what they say that bothers me. It's the decision to irritate me. What makes it worse is that people know I'm high-strung and can easily lose my temper. I don't like being this way. I have sought therapy and anger management, yet I still feel stressed and anxious. I hate myself for it, and it upsets me. Yet, despite knowing this, people will still consciously choose to provoke me. But it gets even worse because they will wind me up and push all my buttons. I will snap and lose my temper, and then I become the bad guy for it. Story 51. I grew up in a family that values hard work for earnings. I now work as a machinist full-time with a decent pay. The problem is that in Quebec, about 30% of my pay goes to taxes. I know that much of it is allocated to government financial aid for people with disabilities who cannot work as much, which on paper is perfectly fine. However, it becomes frustrating when many people abuse the system to avoid work and receive payments for doing nothing with their lives, even when they have the capacity to join the workforce. This means that a significant portion of my hard-earned money goes to support individuals who choose not to contribute to society while they could. This situation frustrates me, especially as I am currently helping my girlfriend recover her finances and working hard to save for a house in my mid-20s. Story 52. People who eat on the phone, especially in a work setting, can be quite distracting. Oh, I have been busy. You don't mind if I eat while we talk, do you? Yes, I absolutely do mind, you mannerless person. Story 53. I have two thoughts that are intertwined, even though they don't make sense. First, I really dislike when people swear all the time. Second, I also have a strong aversion to foolish individuals. Can someone help me make sense of this? Story 54. Catching a germ from someone in the workplace whom you never asked to talk to, sit near, or shake hands with. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.